Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans. And just a few days ago, I was talking about Johann Rupert, who's considering leaving South Africa as a result of what's going on in the country. And what I've attached here is edits from an interview he had over the weekend. And there are three different key things that I want to actually draw your attention to, which are in the video. The one is where he talks about the dangers of farming. And we know our farmers in the Free State and places like that have gone through incredibly hard times as a result of the drought in their areas and how they're being persecuted by these mongrel banks. And the second one is where he talks about the impact of a devaluation of the rand as a result of rating agencies like Moody's taking the rand down to junk. And the final issue that he talks about is really so on the point. He talks about in 40 years' time, the ANC government might have to answer the questions as to what happened in South Africa over this period of time. And he's talking about a comparison of what happened during the time of Hitler's time in Nazi Germany. And, you can understand, I don't have to join the dots, you know what he's talking about. But the comment that really stuck out to me most of all is where he said, we could have a fiasco of such enormity that the protests against service delivery would be really, really small. And he's talking about if the rand is taken to junk and the economy implodes. All right, guys, here comes his video. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, ring the bell for updates, and have a great day. Bye for now.
You do everything properly. You pick the right terroir, the soil, the right viticulturalist, you prepare everything properly. And then 2 weeks before, you either have a heat wave before the harvesting season, or you get hail or something. So it keeps you very, very humble. Agriculture keeps you very humble because you're never quite sure until the end.
I think it was a year or so ago, you said that South Africa's economic growth was not enough to repay current debt. Has that outlook changed at all? Are you feeling a little more optimistic?
Jeremy, I'm concerned globally. How do you repay debt? You either repay debt by increased earnings, should I say taxes in the hands of government, preferably through economic growth, or you make the debt worth less by depreciating the debt. Now, the United States, they're in the fortunate position, they mainly owe in their own currency. For those currencies or countries that have borrowed in foreign currencies, it's not that easy. But there is a real incentive for central bankers worldwide to issue a lot of debt and then to create inflation. However, we cannot grow without foreign capital. And in order to keep the rand where it is, our real interest rates are pretty high, which stifles growth in South Africa. So the poor Reserve Bank, they've got to keep the currency stable, otherwise we're in serious trouble. Unlike what some cabinet ministers believe, who believe we should depreciate the rand. Well, let them face the taxi drivers when the petrol price goes sky high. I'm not entirely sure, that the people understand the implications of a downgrade. Foreign institutions won't have an option. They have to sell. And we can't fund abroad. We will have a hike in interest rates. Our banks will be downgraded. our state-owned enterprises will obviously be downgraded. And we could have a fiasco of such enormity that the protests against service delivery will be really, really small. So when you see people who just don't get it, then obviously one is concerned. On the other hand, should they make the changes that are so obvious, I believe we can fix it, but I don't think we'll fix it the way we're going now. We need to decide, we need to educate the children, but we need to feed them. Because for many of these kids in the Eastern Cape, for instance, the only meal they get is the meal at school. Now, I keep on telling my friends, losing a rugby test is not a tragedy. A hungry child is a tragedy. A kid without education is a tragedy.
As a result of that, then, do you think that business needs to speak out more?
You know, in the end, you live with your own conscience. Do you know how many people never knew anything during Nazi Germany? And one day, their grandchildren may ask them, but Grandpa, didn't you know anything? And if you did, why didn't you speak out? I suspect that in 40 years, 30 years' time, some of the ANC leaders and the leaders of state-owned enterprises may have difficulty in facing their grandchildren.